Now, let's talk about this. Man, I think for Square Enix, Kingdom Hearts 4 and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 is gonna be their Hail Mary.
So it says Square Enix announced this 3-year plan to reboot and awaken the company in order to achieve long term growth. In the company's new medium term business plan, Square Enix shared its plans to optimize development costs, release titles on multiple platforms instead of opting for exclusivity, and expanding its overseas sales. So I don't think that the days of exclusivity are completely behind us, but I do think that we are going to see it happening less and less because companies just recognize the more platforms a game is on, the more copies sell and the more money that they make. Second of all, I do think that every company right now has to look at optimizing development costs. There are games that come out like Concord, right, that should have cost nowhere near even $100 million, never mind multiple hundreds. It is insane to think that that game in totality cost them over $500 million from purchasing the studio to developing and resetting and restarting development. That's crazy. There are games, sure, that need very high price tags because of how large they are and how many different systems are in the game. I get that not every single game is going to cost $50 million to develop, but my god, our price is bloated right now.
Yeah, that is true. I think after COVID, everything is bloated. Well, unless, of course, if you're from the East, they know what to do. See, here's the thing. Look, regardless of whether you are using premium price or free to play, okay, let's take premium price for example, okay? Doesn't matter whether it's single player, live service, or whatever. If you want gamers to pay, say, $80 or $100 or even $40, then you have to make sure that game is playable, polished, no server issue, no bugs, no glitches, and that's it. And most importantly, appealing characters. That's it. Give gamers what they want. But if the game is broken with server issues, server crashes, performance issues, it will not be warranted to have that price tag. It's not warranted.
I mean, Square Enix has really struggled. Look at something like Forspoken. They thought that Luminous was going to be able to create a big new global franchise. They put, as far as we're aware, over $250 million into Forspoken, and well, nobody's talking about it anymore, and it did not kick off. And with expanding overseas sales, we know that every single company wants the biggest audience possible. Japanese companies specifically are really trying their best to expand their overseas sales, chase that sweet, sweet global audience. And while, of course, Japanese games and developers are super popular in the West now, they're losing their identity, which is a very big problem. A lot of these Japanese companies just want to act like the EAs of the world, the BioWares, the Obsidians, and that's not going to keep them in popular status. That's not going to keep people going back to them, because the reason why we turned away from Western game development and we went to South Korean devs and Chinese devs and Japanese devs is because they were doing something different. So
That's true. They're doing something different, and guess what? Now India is coming. That's right. India is bringing the Age of Bharat, aka the India version of Black Myth Wukong. Yep, that's right. After Japan, when it comes to AAA, after Japan, we now have South Korea, and then China, and now India. India, folks. I mean, what's next? Russia? No, wait. Philippines or Taiwan? Yeah, what's next, folks? Who's next going to join the AAA? Because right now we have India. What do we get next? Philippines? Taiwan?
fortunately, if they really are focused on chasing the overseas audience, I don't think it's going to go well for them. Regardless, though, it says the company has cut development costs by nearly 50% since FY 2022. While it is working to keep costs down, it also has adopted a multi platform release strategy for a number of its games. This includes releasing Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on Switch sometime in the future. Have fun with your Switch imploding, as well as releasing Final Fantasy collections to the Switch earlier this year, and then you have Bravely Default on the Switch 2 in June 2025, which is cool. It's very clear that they're trying their best to expand as much as possible, but on the flip side, is this really what they need to be focusing on? I don't think so. It says the company noted this multi platform strategy is already working out as revenue from PC sales in its digital entertainment segment increased around 15 to 20% or around 18 billion Japanese yen since the previous fiscal year. 1 year of this happening is good, but it needs to happen for several years in a row to be deemed a failure or success. Maybe this will keep up, this momentum will not shift for them, but we don't really know. And if I was a company like Square Enix, I would be pretty worried right now. On this channel, I've talked about Square Enix many times, from their modernization of franchises to their ethics department and censoring offensive or discriminatory content, which is insane.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is the thing. If Square Enix really want to restore this, or perhaps even to repair the damage that has been lost when Forspoken hit, then the best way they can do is listen to gamers, ditch their ethics department, ditch Sweet Baby Inc., and most importantly, here's the kicker. Listen to gamers. Listen to feedback. Don't think that feedback is harassment. No. And most importantly, Square Enix, I know you don't want to listen to this. Make games for Japan. Make games for Japanese audience first, and then the international market will follow. And I'm certain some of you who are watching this, you have bought Japanese games before, and you like to hear Japanese voices instead of the English voice. So I think that's how Square Enix should do it. Get the ethics department, continue to make games for Japanese players, and soon international audience will follow. Take a look with places like South Korea, China, and India. They're making games for their country, and guess what happened? Or perhaps, here, let me rephrase what I said. South Korea, China, and now India also make their own games. They cater to their own local players. And you want to know what happened? International players follow suit. Think about that. Black Myth Wukong, yes, nearly half of them is Chinese players, but in the end, the rest is international, global audience. That's how you do it. To the developers of South Korea and China, congratulations. You deserve gamers' praise, and now India is here. I'd be interesting to see what India can do with the age of Bharat. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Well, it's flooded. Expected as much. Can you get to where the hazard lights are flashing?
Almost seeming.
Leave a like and subscribe if you want gaming news, gaming theories, or you just want to see me play games. You can visit my first, third, and fourth channel up here or link in the description.